Is there no way of just having the mic for the live stream? Does it need to come out here? Maybe there isn't. Maybe there isn't. We don't really need the microphone for you guys, but bear with me. We've got it on because there are some people, I think, watching on the live stream. So if you're watching on the live stream and you're tuning in, Emma or whoever it is, welcome. It's good to see you. And I hope you can connect this evening with what's going on too. Can we, before we make a start, can we thank Les, who came in to play the piano so beautifully for us before we started? Thank you, Les, for doing that. It's very kind of you. Let me introduce myself. If I didn't meet you properly at the door, I think I met most of you, to be honest, but I didn't meet you online. I'm Mike, so I'm now the team rector for the parish. Now, that sounds like a really weird name. I'm the vicar at the Lantern Church in Merley, which is another one of the churches in this parish. But there's 3 churches in the parish, which I might tell you something about in a minute. So one of us kind of has oversight over the whole team, and that person gets the rather weird name of team rector. So that's me. But it's great to meet you. And I think I'm meeting all of you for the first time this evening. And as I say, there's a few others, I think, watching online. Karen's here as well. Karen's the curate with me up at the Lantern. And in some ways, this is just, this is your first chance to come for a wedding welcome evening. Oh, you were here last time. And so it's kind of, so you can see what we do as well. And there are some slides which we'll come to in just a minute. But as by way of welcome as well for the parish, just to tell you a bit about the church building we're actually in at the moment as well. This is, some of you know it because you've had relatives married here before, and so there's that special connection for you guys. But this building is actually, I was informed by the guy who's the vicar here, it's the oldest working building in the whole of Poole, like building that actually still works and actively serves a purpose. And this is a normal church that week in, week out, people meet to worship in. It's over 1,000 years old, goes back to Saxon times, and that makes it really special a place, I think, for anyone to get married in there, because like thousands of couples have been married here. Now, I haven't, the oldest couple I've met who are married here, I remember preaching here one Sunday, and at the end I just said hi to this couple I didn't recognise, and it turned out they'd come back that Sunday having to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. And they got married here in this church 50 years previously, and they just wanted to come back to say thank you to God for 50 years of married life. And they told me a bit about their children and now their grandchildren and the whole story that for you might one day unfold, God willing. And it was just so precious for them, and it's precious for us to meet you guys and to think of your whole future that might map out in front of you as well. And but a great thing as well that they remembered, you remember the place you get married. It's hugely significant, isn't it? And that they came back to celebrate that here with us one Sunday was fantastic. Now, the rest of the purpose this evening, we won't keep you hugely long, but we want to just make sure that you're informed. You may or may not know some of the stuff already this evening if you've spoken to Tina or Carrie over email or messaged. But it's to try and make sure that you have the initial information that you need to kind of orientate your way around how we do weddings here in the parish. We would normally give you an information pack as well with even more stuff and stuff that you could take away and read. That has got some details that still need finalising, and so we haven't got that for you here this evening, but we will email that to you once. We're waiting on the diocese, for example, to email us 1 or 2 things to just make sure that we've got all the details correct and we don't need to reissue it just 2 weeks down the line. So you'll get that via email soon. The other things, we've got some bell ringers here this evening, so when I shut up at the end, you can hear the bell ringing going on. You can even have a go. Can they have a go at ringing the bells? You can have a go at doing some bell ringing if you want to as well. And a little bit later as well, Sarah and Al Tyndall are going to be here. Now, Sarah and Al run our marriage preparation course, which I'll mention again a little bit later. And they're just a couple here in the church who are passionate about helping prepare people. Sarah will say a bit, I think, a little bit later, but we want to help prepare you not just for a day in your lives, as special as that can be, but for the whole of your married life, and to just make sure that there's good foundations in place for that. And so I'll mention a little bit more about that later. Again, by way of simple introduction, I'm married to Michelle. We've been married for, what was 2006, 15 years this last summer. So yeah, 15 years we've been married. We've got 3 kids who are, well, one of them's 11 in 2 days' time, and then 9 and 5, and a dog, and 4 stick insects. That's our family. I'll tell you about stick insects some other time, maybe, if you're at all interested. But they're the most recent additions. But so that's me. That's our family. Karen as well is married to Neil. They have 3 children of their own, another one that Karen had earlier as well. So 4 in total. So I guess there's a bit of experience in the room as well. But and yeah, if you've got questions as we're going along and going through the slideshow, then do save those up, ask them, put your hand up, shout, let me know. This church as well, and parish, historically is at the heart of a lot that's going on in the area. So this is Canford Magna that you're in. This is Canford Church. A couple called Lady and Lord Wimborne used to live around here on the estates, and actually from here, loads of like villages, places where people lived, and churches got built as a result of what started here. So Canford Cliffs, you might have heard of, Canford Heath. There's obviously Canford Magna here, Canford Village, Canford Bottom, which is a little bit unfortunate they got that name. But all of these places kind of spread out from here, from the history of this place. And even the church that I worship in, actually, at the Lantern, that got planted out of here when they ran out of space here, basically. In the 1970s to 80s, the church here grew from about 40 or so people to about 800 people. And so they needed more space, as you can imagine, looking around. You can actually fit about 300 in here, I'm told. But they needed more space. And so the Lantern started in 1976, and then St Barnabas Bearwood, which is the other church in the parish, that started in 1981 for that growth. And that's how kind of the parish and the churches in the parish came to be. So this place has been the epicentre of quite a lot in the whole wider community and even in the church community. And Sarah's just arrived. Sarah, I did just mention you. Welcome. So Sarah will mention something more, a little bit about marriage preparation in just a moment. But if we can go back to the slideshow, I've got a few photos just to whiz through, and Chris prepared this for me beforehand, which is very kind of him. So I don't know when you'll be getting married exactly. There's a list back there. I mean, we do know, but off the top of my head, I can't recall. I've done a few weddings here now as well in different seasons and times. So whether it is the summer or the autumn or the winter, you will have a beautiful wedding here, I'm sure. And has anybody been to a wedding here before? I know like parents have got married here, but has anybody experienced a wedding here before? It's a beautiful occasion. You can see, I think that actually, Chris, is that one? No, Jeff's marrying that person. The next one, there's Chris marrying. Is that one of his? Yeah, that's Jonathan and Debs. That's Jonathan and Debs. And then there's another one of his children. That's another one, isn't it? They're the ones they're with in Cambridge at the moment, which means he can't be with us. So a few pictures of the wedding taking place here. Most of it happens here. There's the altar. There's signing the register through there as well. And you can explore the whole of the church space later if you'd like to. But as I mentioned, this is an active, vibrant church. We would love you in the lead up to your wedding to think about, some of you will need to, and you'll need to be here for the reading of the banns of your marriage and stuff, but to consider attending the church here or elsewhere in the parish to experience something of the church community and the church life here in the parish. Because when you get married in a church, I love, and we'll get to some of the planning of your wedding service a little bit later, but I think the church does weddings the best. I'm unashamedly biased about that. I experience them all. We just have the best words, the most profound and beautiful liturgy, the most romantic phrases and historic stuff that is said in weddings. And I say that unashamedly without meaning any offence to anyone, but we do it the best. And so as I'll point you again a little bit later to a place that you can begin to explore, like building your own wedding and what's essential in the service and how you can shape it and customize it a little bit, I'll point you to a website to help you planning your wedding. Do spend the time to read through the vows and the liturgy and the words that you're going to be saying and experiencing on the day. because they're beautifully profound. And as Christians, we believe that God is here and present by his Holy Spirit when people are joined together and are married. And that's beautifully represented in the words in the liturgy as well. In fact, symbolically, we believe that it is God that marries you, not the priest, not me or anyone else. That it is God that marries you. That little point in wedding services that you might have clocked or might have passed you by, where traditionally at least the father of the bride gives the hand in marriage to the priest and then it's given to the groom. Do you remember that bit? Have you seen that bit? There's something actually beautifully symbolic that's going on there, which people sometimes don't miss, is symbolically in that service, the priest is representing God. And what's happening there is the father is giving his beautiful, precious daughter, probably with floods of tears going on and everything else, to God. And God is giving her to the husband, to the groom, to be married. We believe that it is God that marries you by his Spirit. And so there's some beautiful symbolism that you can pick up in the words as we go along. Slideshow? Thank you for doing that. I know that if there's people watching online, they don't just want to see the slideshow. Now, in terms of some of the planning and the admin and stuff, Tina can't be here tonight. She's a little bit unwell. You may have liaised with Tina already, but Carrie is here. Thank you, Carrie, for being here. Those are contact numbers which you can get in touch with them to ask any questions. In terms of the vicars, and all of you will be assigned a different minister that will be your particular point of contact and the one that's here on the day to marry you. There's myself, there's Chris Tebbert, who I mentioned, who's populated the photos with some of his kids, Karen, Andrew Cork, Ralph Goldenberg. Who was it that was going to have Ralph, that knew they were going to have Ralph? Who was it who heard that? Is that you guys? Yeah, he may be here tonight, I don't know, but you've got a good one if you've got him as well. But I think I'd want to be married by Ralph. And Sarah and Al lead our marriage prep course. Sarah, do you want to just pop up and say a little bit about why you do that and your heart for that, and introduce yourself to people? I've got a microphone for you, actually.
Oh, how exciting.
You don't need it, but they do need it online for the live stream, so there you go.
Hi. Is that, yeah? Great, yes, I'm Sarah. My husband Al teaches at Canford School and he's at a dinner at the moment, so he might be turning up in his tux in a little bit, just to showcase perhaps one of the outfits you might want to wear for your wedding. So we have been married for 15 years, and we've got 3 kids, and we did the pre-marriage course at the church that we attended at the time, and we've subsequently done then the marriage course 3 times. Not because we're really unhappily married, but because it provides some incredible material just to help promote conversation in your relationship. Because marriage can be really quite tough. It requires choice, can't it? It's great most of the time, but it can be also really tough. And this course helps provide a foundation for discussion about things around family and tradition and dealing with conflict and that sort of stuff, and will hopefully raise opportunities to discuss things that you may not have thought about talking about before you get married. So I'm a huge believer in this course. It will provide you with some material to chew over, to discuss, and hopefully you'll find benefit for it. So we're doing it online for the first 3 sessions, and then we're going to have a day together on a Saturday at the end of the course where we'll actually gather in person and have a bit more of in the room discussion. So it's not a let's sit around and talk about it all in a big group. The discussion time, it's worth mentioning, it's a discussion time just for you as a couple, and that is just between you two, unless you want to then help bounce it off somebody else. Is that all right?
That's great.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah. I'm very similar. We're 15 years as well. We did the marriage, but we've done the marriage prep. We did the marriage prep course and then marriage course now 3 times as well. And it's almost, they describe it on the course as like doing an MOT on the most important relationship in your life. And it's, I couldn't encourage you more to do it. And actually, it's a huge amount of fun. The last couple that I married that come to our church at the moment just celebrated their first wedding anniversary. and made a point of saying thank you so much for taking us through marriage prep. And we've just had an amazing first year of our marriage, and just thank you that we discovered stuff and started chatting about stuff on that course that we could never have anticipated, and have been amazing foundation. So can't encourage you strongly enough to do the marriage prep course. And in fact, in your kind of like fees for the wedding here, the fee for the course is incorporated into that. And so, yeah, it's already there. If we could go back to the slideshow. Thank you again. Oh, Ralph is here. Ralph, welcome. Good to see you. Come and grab a seat. So that's Sarah and Al and Marriage Prep. We've also got an amazing AV team and can live stream your wedding if that's a help now. That's, I guess, a benefit of the last couple of years. We can now do that. We've got music, we've got organists that you can bring in. I've seen a harpist in here. We've got our own pianists, and you could bring your own music group if you wanted. And vergers, there'll be people here on the day to just make sure that everything operates smoothly. And of course, the minister will know their way around as well and be able to help with that. We've got bells, and you'll be able to hear those demonstrated later. We don't offer a flower service, so if you want flowers and to organise flowers, you'll need to do that yourself. But do we have anyone that we recommend or anything, Carrie? Or? Okay. Okay. Don't know the building. Okay. Okay. So that's information. If that's too fast for you, we can email stuff out as well. Now this is an annoying bit of the slideshow where I need to click through everyone, and I wish it was kind of just all there. I think you've probably all booked with Tina already. I don't think any of you here need an interview with the rector or anything. As part of the marriage prep course, there's what's called a focus questionnaire, which we ask that you complete actually as soon as you can. Is that right?
I set it up after this evening.
You set it up after this evening?
You'll get emails to give you
Brilliant.
passwords and how to log in.
Now that questionnaire is kind of like complementary to the marriage prep course and a kind of first step as part of that. It involves the two of you separately answering a whole bunch of questions, and it's really thorough and really, really helpful, because what it does is it does some weird, clever algorithm stuff and meshes all of that stuff and helps highlight areas in your relationship that you might not have discussed as much, or things that would be worth talking about before. It's not like a pass-fail test. There's no like, oh, if you don't get this percentage, you're in real trouble. It's there to help. And it's to help identify stuff that would be helpful for you to talk about and think about. So that's what that is. And then there's the marriage prep course, which we've mentioned. The date's already there. We've said partly because we don't know quite where we'll be with COVID, but also for ease, that those first 3 evenings, and treat them as a date night. Treat them, make them as special as you can with a date night. That'll be the vibe that Sarah and Al will be giving off. And then there's the Saturday, and the last 2 sessions happen at the Saturday on the 19th of February in the CMC, the Canford Magna Centre, which is just over there. Do people know about bands of marriage? Any question about that? Do you know what the bands of marriage mean, or like what that's about? It's a kind of slightly weird Church of England historic thing, but was for very good purpose when it was designed. It was like everybody lived in the village, and if actually one of them was doing something with the butcher that they shouldn't have been, the village would have known, and like, no, that shouldn't be going ahead because I know. So it was kind of like to audit and make sure all was good in the relationship and that it was publicly acknowledged and stuff. But we still have to do that. It's a legal requirement to make sure that we're marrying people appropriately in the Church of England. So there's that. And then we start getting to the point of looking at the order of the service, and the person who's your kind of assigned minister is going to be walking through some of the marriage prep, some of the focus questionnaire stuff with you, and the organising the service itself can guide you through that. Any real detailed arrangements, Carrie's your person to speak to, because I probably won't know the answer anyway. And then your minister as well will try and arrange a rehearsal with you. Typically that's like the day before, the evening before the wedding. You know, people are coming from other parts of the country maybe to come along, and the evening before can work well. Sometimes it'll happen at other times, but that's usually the best time. And once you know your wedding date, it might be worth beginning to think, chatting to your minister, your assigned minister, which you can learn tonight if you don't know already, and to begin to think about that actually, so that for bridesmaids, ushers and things like that, you can begin to let them know that actually it's not just the wedding you need them for, it's the wedding rehearsal you need them for. Sometimes people build a nice meal the evening before around that to make it a thing. But it's really important for me when I'm doing those. I love to have the ushers there, the bridesmaids, best man, maid of honour, and ideally the parents, if they're alive, with both sides as well. So that, and the reason that wedding rehearsal is really important, it's important for you guys so that when you come on the day, you're not freaking out, worrying, where do I stand or what am I meant to do? You can just enjoy the day because you kind of already walked through it. But it's also, crucially importantly, actually when I'm doing a wedding rehearsal, there's an element in which I'm speaking to the couple, but I'm also really speaking to the ushers and the bridesmaids and everybody else, because they're meant to look after you on the day. Again, so they're meant to know the details so that you don't need to worry about it too much. When the flowers are handed over, how people are going to guide people to the seats, when they're meant to do their different bits. Again, so you don't need to think about it, worry about it as much on the day. They're meant to look after you. That's part of their role. So I'm very keen to communicate well to them when it comes to rehearsal. So do begin to think when you know the date, chat to the minister, see if you can get that in the diary so that isn't a last minute rush. And then there's obviously the wedding day itself. I've mentioned about the focus questionnaire. You can do it with a cup of tea over about 20 to 30 minutes. It's all confidential. Marriage prep, we've already talked about that. And you can find out more. And you can find out more about the course itself on the website there at the bottom, relationshipcentral.org marriage preparation course. So you can get a little preview of it there. This is the C of E website that I said about planning your wedding. It's just yourchurchwedding.org is the website, yourchurchwedding.org. And you can begin to explore what you might use as a Bible reading, what you might use as the hymns, the flow of the service. Some of the words that I said were so beautiful and romantic, the liturgy. It means when you're chatting with the minister, you already kind of have an idea of like, oh, these are the bits that are there. This is where there might be some flexibility. This is kind of usual expectations of the wedding service. So that's there for you, and it's a really easy walk-through thing for you. I mentioned some of the parish and the other churches, just so you can see. These are the other churches in the parish. You can get married at any of them. Most people tend to choose the parish church, but there have been weddings at the others. Yeah, but this is, yeah, we hope. I've already spoken about that. I think that's the end of the slideshow. So, brilliant, and well done for hanging in if you're watching online. So that's the basic way into weddings and how they happen here in this parish and at this church. Asked that Carrie could answer for me. Is there anything else to say? What have you got there? Go on. Go for it. Next part of the process. There you go.
Okay, so the next thing that will happen for those who aren't married already, that will be going on, is you will receive through the post your wedding pack. Now, it's got loads of information in there with lots of different bits and bobs to go through the day and forms to fill in. The most important form is the banns of marriage form. This form is what we use to write up the wedding document, as it now is. There's no longer wedding registers. The form is slightly out of date, though, now, because now you can have mothers on the wedding document as well as the fathers, okay? So those details can be included as well. So they will be coming through the post. We sometimes get them ready for this evening, but the Salisbury Diocese haven't published their fees for next year yet. Yeah. So we're waiting on that to be able to put an invoice in the pack as well. But there's information about music, about there's just loads in there. So it'll take a while to read through, look through it. Any questions, just get back to myself or Tina. That's not a problem at all. Brilliant. Okay?
Thank you, Carrie. That's great. Brilliant. So, are there any other questions? Any questions? Don't, someone would have asked your question before if you've got it and you think, no, that's too simple a question. But any questions? Sorry if you missed something at the start. But,
I won't say who it was, but somebody asked me if they were concerned about their vows, and I made the suggestion that they would look at them online or get a copy of them and practice them beforehand if you're worried. So I thought that
oh, right, yeah. Yeah,
suggest just to reassure you.
yeah.
You can see the whole fact on the website. You can see the whole survey.
I mean, when it comes to it, when it comes to, don't worry, it's probably for people in the room. That's fine. Well, when it comes to the rehearsal and when it comes to the day, you'll be led through it and you can go through it line by line. But yeah, some people find it. Thank you for saying that, Karen. Will find it a reassurance to kind of get familiar with the language and stuff beforehand. Some very brave couples try and memorise the whole vows rather than line by line. There's always a backup there, but you could do that too. But have you had many people do that in your time, Ralph?
I've had a couple who memorised it, yes.
Yeah, but it's a rarity. It's brave, but yeah. Did you memorise them? No. Don't be so silly. Great. The rest of the evening is a space for you to. The bell ringers will start playing. You can join them, explore the church, ask any of your questions. Meet Ralph if he's going to be your minister. Say hi. And we've got, I'm trying to think if there's any, I've got the list here actually. So we can see who's everybody got. So we've got, Ralph has got, Ralph's not on this one. Amelia and Lee, yeah, are with Ralph. And you guys know that you're with Chris Tebbett, aren't you? You already know. And do you guys know who you're with?
Yeah.
You're with Karen?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So, and you've already met Chris, and you can meet Karen, and you can meet Ralph. So, that's worked perfectly. That's brilliant. Roger and Leslie, you're with Chris, aren't you? He's already said you're with her. He sends his apologies, but I think you might have known that he wasn't going to be able to be here tonight. I'd love to meet you anyway, so I'll come and say hi to you in a minute. But do explore the church, have a go at bell ringing, and ask any questions that you'd like to. Say hi to your minister, and if you, Otherwise, I think that's all the input from the front, essentially. Is that, I promise we wouldn't keep you too long. Is that okay? Great. But to close this part of the evening, it's worth saying we are so excited for you. Doing weddings is one of the favourite things that I get to do in this job. It is a huge privilege. You've made the right choice in wanting to get married or have the blessing here in a church. I think it's the best foundation for starting on what we hope will be a lifelong, joyful, along with challenges, adventure together. And it's a huge privilege to do it. So thank you for choosing to have your wedding here. And bless you. Is that all right? Great. Do explore, say hi, and that's it. Bye to the people online. Good to see you. Great.